Okay, today we're going to be talking about photosynthesis and respiration. All right, so photosynthesis occurs in plants using chloroplast. What we use for energy synthesis is the mitochondria. All right, so cellular respiration equation. So the reactants, what we're using is talking about is C6H12O6. What that is glucose. Okay? Then we are using O2, which is oxygen. The products of this reaction right here include CO2, water, and most importantly, energy. Okay? Now, these ATPs are energy. Think of them sort of as sort of almost like coins that equal energy. Okay? So obviously, the more coins you have, the more energy you have. All right, as I said, glucose, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water. So during photosynthesis, plants make the glucose. Okay? Again, photosynthesis involves plants. During respiration, the animals take the glucose that the plants make, and we get energy from it. And obviously the O2 is going to come from the air, which we both use. And the name of the game is energy. Energy for us and energy for the plants. All right, cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is a process in which cells break down simple food molecules, such as sugar, glucose, and release the energy. This is carried out continuously. If this ever stops, first the cell and then the organism will die. Okay, respiration in cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, the sugar is broken down into smaller molecules. Very small amount of energy is released from glucose, only 6 ATPs. Remember that the ATPs are coins, sort of energy coins, and 6 ATPs is not a whole lot of energy. This is known as anaerobic respiration. Okay? Now, anaerobic respiration does not use oxygen. So this is an oxygen minus this does not. No oxygen. Try that again. So this is an oxygen deficit environment. So anaerobic respiration, also known as fermentation, this process, fermentation, it can occur in single-celled organisms in deep oceans or muds of lake. This is a fairly simple process right here. Some of these can include yeast, bacteria. This provides energy for cells. Again, anaerobic is without using oxygen. And again, whenever you have an anaerobic situation, anaerobic respiration, you are not getting a lot of energy. What happens with this is when this occurs in our system, it causes a buildup of lactic acid. Okay? So if you think about when you are like running, or if you're sprinting as hard as you can, and eventually your muscles start to burn, that basically is what's happening is your muscles have already burned through all of the oxygen that they have and cannot get enough. Then they start to go what's called anaerobic. As soon as you start to go anaerobic, that is when you build up the lactic acid. and that's what makes your muscles sore. All right, so respiration in the mitochondria. Now again, mitochondria, these are animal cells. Animal cells. So the glucose molecules are broken down in the mitochondria. The chemical reaction requires oxygen and lots of energy is released. So remember, whenever you're talking oxygen in an oxygen environment, it creates many, many more ATPs, much more energy. So this is why the mitochondria is called the powerhouse of the cell, because it can create so much energy. So again, this uses oxygen. So respiration in the mitochondria breaks down the glucose. The chemical reaction produces a lot of energy, and again, in an oxygen-rich environment. Also, another way of seeing that, thinking about that, this is aerobic respiration as opposed to anaerobic. So aerobic is oxygen, anaerobic, not oxygen. All right, so here we have the whole system. We have the energy, the light energy coming from the sun. Okay, this comes into the plant cell right here, into the chloroplasts of the plant cell. Okay, it produces organic molecules. Okay, in this case, glucose. Okay. Other things as well, but for this case, glucose is going to be the most important for us, and that combines with oxygen. Okay, we take that in, we convert it into energy, and this is what powers most of our cells. So basically, everything that our cells do to take care of business, we need ATP to do. Reproduction, meiosis, mitosis, things like that. Everything requires energy. Then, our waste byproduct that we get from our cellular respiration outputs CO2 and water, which the plant, in turn, can intake as its fuel source, combines it with light energy, and photosynthesis occurs. So around and around and around the cycle goes. All right, so we've got a comparison of aerobic, which is oxygen, and anaerobic, which is absence of oxygen, and in respiration. So aerobic, some of the things that are a little bit different. It's very, very efficient when it is in an aerobic state. It yields a lot of energy, a lot of ATP. It occurs in eukaryotic cells, okay? And it uses oxygen. Now remember, these are, that's not very good, erase that. Eukaryotic is animal cells. Okay? Some of the things that they share, they are both modes of generating energy, okay? And they both require glucose, simple sugar. Now over here we've got anaerobic, absence of oxygen, not very efficient, not very much ATP is produced. Okay, this occurs in prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic in the muscles. Now remember, cells like this, very simple cells, such as yeast, and obviously in our muscles too, when we go into anaerobic state, when we've got the lactic acid building up and all that jazz. So and neither of these use oxygen. So, Here are some comparisons between photosynthesis and respiration. Okay, we are going to go ahead and go over this in class as far as what uses energy in glucose, what the raw materials are, otherwise known as the reactants, which we discussed, what the end products are, and in what cells these occur in. So we're going to go ahead and do this in class.